The air is thick with an unnatural stillness, broken only by the faint creak of rusted hinges as the wind whispers through the cracks of St. Agatha's church. Its towering spire looms over the fog-drenched town of Blackthorn, a shadowy sentinel that has watched over the village for centuries. But this is no ordinary church. For decades, its bells have remained silent, their voices stolen by a mystery no one dares to unravel. Until now, enter Detective Eleanor Blake, a woman whose sharp mind and unshakable intuition have solved cases that others deemed impossible. But this case is different. The church holds more than just secrets. It holds a piece of her past. When a local historian vanishes while investigating the tower's dark history, Eleanor is drawn into a web of whispers, curses, and ghostly echoes. The legend of the silent bells is more than just a story. It's a warning, and as Eleanor steps into the shadow of the tower, she can't help but wonder what secrets lie hidden in the shadows of the silent bells. Stay with us as we uncover a tale of mystery, betrayal, and the chilling truth that has haunted Blackthorn for generations. As the story unfolds, we find ourselves standing before the haunting silhouette of St. Agatha's church. Its Gothic architecture rises like a spectre from the earth, with pointed arches and intricate stone carvings that seem to twist and writhe in the dim light. The walls, weathered by time, bear the scars of centuries, their once proud stones now crumbling and cracked. The church's most striking feature is its tower, a towering monolith that pierces the sky, casting a long, ominous shadow over the fog-drenched town of Blackthorn. It's a place where the air feels heavier, as if the very atmosphere is weighed down by the secrets it holds. The silence here is deafening. For decades, the bells of St. Agatha's have remained mute, their voices lost to time. No one knows why they stopped ringing, but the townsfolk whisper of a curse, a dark force that silenced them long ago. Some claim to have heard ghostly whispers echoing from the tower late at night, faint murmurs that send shivers down their spines. These rumors have turned the church into a place of fear, a relic of the past that the people of Blackthorn avoid at all costs. Among the few who still frequent the church is Father Gregory, the reclusive vicar. A man of few words, he moves through the shadows of the nave with a quiet intensity, his eyes always darting as if searching for something or someone. Then there's Mr. Hargrove, the groundskeeper, whose grizzled appearance and gruff demeanor make him an intimidating figure. He's often seen skulking around the churchyard, his hands stained with dirt and his gaze lingering a little too long on the tower. The townsfolk say he knows more than he lets on, but no one dares to ask him directly. As Detective Eleanor Blake steps into this eerie setting, she can't shake the feeling that the church is watching her, its ancient stones holding secrets that refuse to stay buried. The silence of the bells is more than just an absence of sound. It's a warning, a reminder that some mysteries are best left undisturbed. But Eleanor is not one to back down, and as she begins her investigation, she knows that the answers she seeks lie within the shadowy depths of St. Agatha's church. As the shadows deepen over Blackthorn, the mystery takes a darker turn with the disappearance of Dr. Langston, the historian who had been delving into the church's archives. Known for his meticulous research and unshakable curiosity, Dr. Langston had spent weeks poring over dusty records and forgotten documents, determined to uncover the truth behind the silent bells. His last known movements paint a chilling picture. On the night he vanished, he was seen entering the church tower, carrying a lantern and a satchel filled with notes. Witnesses recall hearing the creak of the tower door closing behind him, followed by an eerie silence that stretched into the early hours of the morning. When Dr. Langston failed to return, the townsfolk grew uneasy. A search of the tower revealed little, only a few scattered papers and a torn page from an old journal. The page, brittle with age, bore a single ominous sentence: "The curse of the bells cannot be broken, for their silence is the price of our sins." This cryptic message became the first clue in Eleanor's investigation, a thread that seemed to lead deeper into the church's dark history. Eleanor's first stop was Father Gregory, the vicar whose quiet demeanor had always struck her as peculiar. When questioned about Dr. Langston's disappearance, the vicar claimed to know nothing, his voice steady but his hands trembling slightly as he spoke. He insisted that the historian had left the church that night, though no one could confirm his story. Eleanor couldn't shake the feeling that Father Gregory was hiding something, his unease betraying a deeper knowledge of the events that had unfolded. As she left the vicar's study, Eleanor's mind raced. The torn journal page hinted at a curse, but what did it mean, and why had Dr. Langston been so determined to uncover the truth about the bells? The answers, she suspected, lay somewhere within the church's walls, waiting to be discovered. With each step, the weight of the mystery grew heavier, the silence of the bells, a constant reminder that some secrets were never meant to be unearthed. But Eleanor was not one to turn away from the truth, no matter how dark it might be. As the investigation deepens, Eleanor's attention shifts to the church archives, a dimly lit room filled with towering shelves of ancient books and yellowed documents. Among the dust-covered volumes, she stumbles upon a small, leather-bound journal tucked away in a forgotten corner. The name on the cover reads, Sister Margaret, a nun who lived in the early 1800s. The pages, though fragile, are filled with meticulous handwriting, each word carrying the weight of a story long buried. Sister Margaret's journal begins with observations of her daily life, but soon takes a darker turn. She writes of strange occurrences in the tower, sounds of footsteps echoing in the night, shadows that seem to move on their own, and the sudden, unexplained silencing of the bells. The entries grow more frantic as she describes the deaths of several clergy members, each one marked by a chilling detail, their faces frozen in expressions of terror. Sister Margaret believed the tower was cursed, a place where the sins of the past had taken on a life of their own. Eleanor's heart races as she reads the final entries. Sister Margaret speaks of a hidden chamber within the tower, a place where the truth of the curse might be found. She writes, "The bells were silenced not by choice, but by necessity. To ring them would awaken what lies beneath." The words send a shiver down Eleanor's spine. Could this be what Dr. Langston had discovered, and if so, what had he found that led to his disappearance? With the journal in hand, Eleanor's suspicions solidify. The curse is real, and the tower holds secrets far darker than she had imagined. The hidden chamber mentioned by Sister Margaret becomes her next focus, a puzzle piece that could unravel the mystery of the silent bells and the fate of Dr. Langston. As she closes the journal, Eleanor feels the weight of the past pressing down on her, a reminder that some truths are not only dangerous but deadly. The path ahead is uncertain, but Eleanor knows one thing for sure: the answers lie within the tower, waiting to be uncovered, and as the shadows grow longer, she prepares to face whatever darkness awaits. As the investigation takes a new turn, Eleanor sets her sights on the church's groundskeeper, Mr. Hargrove. The man, with his weathered face and guarded demeanor, has always seemed to linger in the background, watching and waiting. When Eleanor confronts him, his initial reluctance is palpable. He shifts uncomfortably, his eyes darting toward the tower, as if it holds a secret he's desperate to keep. After some prodding, he finally admits to hearing strange noises in the tower at night: footsteps, whispers, and the faint clinking of metal. He even claims to have seen shadowy figures moving near the bells, their forms flickering like candlelight in the dark. But when pressed about Dr. Langston's disappearance, Mr. Hargrove clams up, insisting he knows nothing. Eleanor isn't convinced. There's something in the way he avoids her gaze, something in the way his answers feel rehearsed. She begins to dig deeper, piecing together fragments of his past. What she uncovers is a connection to the church that runs deeper than she ever imagined. The Hargrove family has been tied to St. Agatha's for generations, their name etched into the church's history like a ghostly echo. Could this be why he's so protective of the tower? Or is there something more sinister at play? As Eleanor probes further, she discovers that Mr. Hargrove's ancestors were once caretakers of the church, entrusted with its secrets. But what secrets exactly, and why does he seem so determined to keep them hidden? The groundskeeper's evasiveness only fuels her suspicion, and she begins to wonder if he's not just a witness to the strange occurrences, but a key player in the mystery itself. With each passing moment, the shadows around the tower seem to grow darker, and Eleanor knows she's getting closer to the truth, a truth that someone, perhaps even Mr. Hargrove, is desperate to keep buried. As the investigation deepens, Eleanor and her assistant Tom turn their attention to the tower itself. The air grows heavier as they ascend the narrow, winding staircase, each step echoing faintly against the ancient stone walls. Guided by the cryptic clues in Sister Margaret's journal, they begin their search for the hidden chamber. Hours pass as they meticulously examine every inch of the tower, their flashlights cutting through the thick dust and cobwebs that cling to the shadows. Then, just as frustration begins to set in, Tom's sharp eyes catch something unusual, a loose stone in the wall, barely noticeable unless you knew what to look for. With a careful push, the stone gives way, revealing a concealed door that creaks open with a groan that seems to echo through the centuries. Inside, the chamber is small and cramped, its walls lined with shelves that sag under the weight of forgotten relics. The air smells of damp earth and decay, and the faint light from their flashlights dances over a rusted bell clapper and a stack of yellowed letters tied with a frayed ribbon. Eleanor's hands tremble slightly as she unties the ribbon and begins to read. The letters, written in a flowing, elegant script, tell a story of betrayal and greed. They speak of a scandal involving the church's former priest and a wealthy benefactor, a man whose influence once loomed large over the town of Blackthorn. The letters hint at a dark pact, a secret so damning that it could have torn the church apart, and as Eleanor reads on, a chilling realization begins to take shape. This scandal, buried for so long, might be the key to understanding the curse that silenced the bells. The rusted bell clapper, now lying forgotten in the corner, seems to take on a new significance. Could its removal have been an act of desperation, an attempt to break the curse? Or was it a symbol of something far more sinister? Eleanor's mind races as she pieces together the fragments of the past, each clue drawing her closer to the truth. But as the shadows in the chamber seem to shift and stir, she can't shake the feeling that they are not alone, that the secrets of St. Agatha's are watching, waiting, and perhaps even fighting to stay hidden. With the letters in hand and the weight of the past pressing down on her, Eleanor knows that the answers she seeks are within reach. But as she and Tom prepare to leave the chamber, a faint sound reaches their ears, a distant, almost imperceptible ringing, as if the silent bells are trying to speak once more. The mystery of the tower is far from over, and the truth, it seems, is more dangerous than either of them could have imagined. As the shadows of the hidden chamber linger in her mind, Eleanor turns her attention to Father Gregory, the reclusive vicar of St. Agatha's. With the letters and the rusted bell clapper as her evidence, she confronts him in the dimly lit confines of his office. The air feels heavy, charged with unspoken truths, as Eleanor lays out the damning details of the scandal she uncovered. Father Gregory's face pales, his hands trembling as he admits to knowing about the church's dark past. But he insists, his voice cracking with desperation, that he had no part in Dr. Langston's disappearance. Eleanor watches him closely, her sharp instincts picking up on the subtle shifts in his demeanor. There's something he's not saying, something that gnaws at the edges of his confession. As she presses him further, his alibi begins to crumble. He stumbles over his words, his explanations growing more tangled and less convincing. The tension in the room builds, a silent battle of wills between the detective and the man of the cloth. Then, as Eleanor scans the room, her gaze falls on a small, blood-stained handkerchief tucked beneath a stack of papers on his desk. The sight sends a chill down her spine. She picks it up carefully, the fabric stiff and discolored with age, or perhaps something more recent. Father Gregory's eyes widen in panic, and he stammers out a weak explanation, but it's too late. The evidence speaks louder than his words. Eleanor's suspicions deepen. Could the vicar, a man sworn to protect his flock, be hiding a darker secret? The blood-stained handkerchief suggests violence, and the way Father Gregory reacts only fuels her doubts. As she leaves his office, the weight of the mystery presses down on her. The vicar's guilt, or perhaps his fear, is undeniable. But what exactly is he afraid of, and how far is he willing to go to keep the truth buried? The pieces of the puzzle are coming together, but with each revelation, the danger seems to grow. As Eleanor steps back into the dimly lit corridors of St. Agatha's, she can't shake the feeling that the church's secrets are closing in around her. The silent bells may have been quiet for decades, but the echoes of their story are growing louder, and the truth is closer than ever. Yet as the shadows shift and the air grows colder, Eleanor knows that uncovering it might come at a cost she's not ready to pay. As the night deepens and the church grows still, Eleanor finds herself unable to shake the unease that has settled over her. The faint sound of bells echoes through the empty halls, a sound that should be impossible. The bells of St. Agatha's have been silent for decades, yet there it is, a distant, haunting chime that pulls her from her thoughts. Her heart races as she follows the sound, her footsteps echoing softly against the stone floor. The air grows colder with each step, and the shadows seem to stretch and twist around her. She reaches the base of the tower, her breath visible in the icy air. The sound of the bells grows louder, more insistent, as if calling her forward. With a deep breath, she begins to climb the narrow spiral staircase, her hand brushing against the rough stone walls for balance. The higher she goes, the heavier the atmosphere becomes, as though the very air is resisting her ascent. At the top of the tower, she steps into the belfry, her eyes scanning the dimly lit space. The bells hang motionless, their silence a stark contrast to the ringing she still hears. And then she sees it, a figure standing in the shadows, cloaked in the tattered habit of a nun. The ghostly form turns to face her, its features obscured by the darkness, but Eleanor feels its gaze pierce through her. For a moment, time seems to stand still. The figure raises a hand, as if to speak, but no words come. Instead, it begins to fade, dissolving into the air like mist under the morning sun. Eleanor reaches out instinctively, her hand passing through the empty space where the figure once stood. The bells fall silent once more, leaving her alone in the tower with only the sound of her own breathing. The encounter leaves her shaken, her mind racing with questions. Was it Sister Margaret, the nun whose journal she had found? Was this ghostly apparition trying to guide her, to reveal the truth behind the curse? The pieces of the puzzle begin to align in her mind, each clue leading her closer to the heart of the mystery. As she descends the tower, the weight of what she has seen settles over her. The ghost's presence is a sign, a message that cannot be ignored. The silent bells, the hidden chamber, the blood-stained handkerchief, it's all connected. And now, with the ghost's appearance, Eleanor knows she is on the right path. But the closer she gets to the truth, the more she feels the danger closing in. The church's secrets are not willing to be uncovered easily, and the cost of revealing them may be higher than she ever imagined. With renewed determination, Eleanor steps back into the night, her resolve stronger than ever. The ghostly encounter has left its mark, but it has also given her the clarity she needs. The truth is within her grasp, and she will not stop until she uncovers it, no matter the risks that lie ahead. As the first light of dawn breaks over Blackthorn, Eleanor sits at her desk, the rusted bell clapper resting before her. The strange markings etched into its surface catch the pale morning light, their intricate patterns seeming almost alive. She runs her fingers over the grooves, her mind racing. These symbols are no ordinary scratches, they mean something important. Determined to uncover their meaning, Eleanor seeks out a local historian, an elderly man named Mr. Whitaker, who has spent his life studying the town's past. His small, cluttered study is filled with books and artifacts, each one a piece of Blackthorn's history. She places the clapper on his desk, and his eyes widen as he examines it. These markings, he says, his voice trembling with excitement, are ancient symbols of protection. They were used centuries ago to ward off evil spirits or curses. Whoever removed this clapper knew what they were doing. They silenced the bells to break the curse, but he pauses, his expression darkening. It seems someone didn't want the curse to end. Eleanor's heart pounds as the pieces fall into place. The clapper was removed to stop the bells from ringing, to keep the curse at bay. But why would someone want to keep the curse alive? Her thoughts turn to the groundskeeper, Mr. Hargrove, and the vicar, Father Gregory. Both have been evasive. Both seem to know more than they're letting on. Could they be working together to protect the church's dark secrets? As she leaves Mr. Whitaker's study, the weight of her discovery settles over her. The clapper is more than just a clue, it's a key to unraveling the mystery. But with each step closer to the truth, the danger grows. The church's secrets are buried deep, and those who guard them will stop at nothing to keep them hidden. With the clapper in hand, Eleanor knows she must confront the groundskeeper and the vicar. Their lies and half-truths have led her this far, but now it's time to demand answers. The ghostly encounter in the tower, the hidden chamber, The blood-stained handkerchief fits all connected, and the clapper is the final piece of the puzzle. As she walks back to the church, the morning sun casts long shadows across the cobblestone streets. The town is waking up, but Eleanor feels as though she's stepping deeper into the darkness. The truth is within her grasp, but so is the danger, and as she approaches the church gates, she knows there's no turning back. The silent bells may have been quiet for decades, but their secrets are about to be heard. As the tension in the church reaches its peak, Eleanor stands before the gathered suspects, her voice steady but firm. The air is thick with unease, the flickering candlelight casting long shadows across the ancient stone walls. She holds up the rusted bell clapper, its markings glinting ominously, and begins to lay out her case. The silencing of the bells, she says, was no accident. It was deliberate, and you, she turns to Mr. Hargrove and Father Gregory, have been hiding the truth for decades. The groundskeeper shifts uncomfortably, his eyes darting toward the vicar, who stands pale and silent. Eleanor presses on, detailing the evidence she's uncovered, the hidden chamber, the letters, the blood-stained handkerchief. She accuses them of conspiring to protect the church's dark secrets, of keeping the curse alive to bury the sins of the past. But just as the weight of her words begins to sink in, a cold wind sweeps through the church, extinguishing the candles and plunging the room into darkness. When the light returns, the ghostly figure of Sister Margaret stands before them, her translucent form glowing faintly. The room falls silent, every eye fixed on the spectral nun. She raises a trembling hand and points toward the tower, her gaze locked on Eleanor. Without a word, Eleanor understands. She leads the group up the narrow staircase, her heart pounding with every step. At the top of the tower, Eleanor finds a hidden compartment behind a loose stone, just as Sister Margaret had indicated. Inside lies the body of Dr. Langston, his face frozen in an expression of terror. Beside him is a yellowed piece of parchment, a confession written by the church's former priest. The words reveal a shocking truth. The priest had faked his own death to escape justice for his crimes, leaving behind a trail of lies and manipulation that had ensnared the town for generations. Eleanor reads the confession aloud, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and sorrow. The former priest had orchestrated the curse, silencing the bells to cover his tracks and ensure his secrets would never be uncovered. Mr. Hargrove and Father Gregory, bound by fear and loyalty, had played their parts in maintaining the deception. But now, with the truth laid bare, the weight of their guilt is undeniable. As the final words of the confession echo through the tower, the ghostly figure of Sister Margaret begins to fade, her expression one of peace. The curse, it seems, has been broken. But for Eleanor, the victory is bittersweet. The secrets of the silent bells have been revealed, but at a cost, and as she looks out over the town of Blackthorn, she can't help but wonder what other shadows still linger in the corners of this ancient place. As the echoes of the confession fade into the stillness of the tower, a profound silence settles over the group. Eleanor stands amidst the remnants of the church's dark past, her mind racing with the weight of what she has uncovered. The former priest's elaborate scheme to silence the bells and bury his crimes had ensnared not only the town, but also those who had tried to protect its secrets. Mr. Hargrove and Father Gregory, once bound by fear and loyalty, now stand exposed, their roles in the deception laid bare for all to see. With a deep breath, Eleanor turns her attention to the rusted bell clapper still clutched in her hand. The markings, once a mystery, now serve as a symbol of the curse's end. She carefully reattaches it to the ancient bell, her movements deliberate and reverent. As the clapper strikes the bell for the first time in decades, a deep, resonant tone fills the air, echoing across Blackthorn and breaking the oppressive silence that had haunted the town for so long. The sound of the bells seems to awaken something in the church. The ghostly figure of Sister Margaret, who had guided Eleanor to the truth, begins to fade, her translucent form dissolving into the faint light of dawn. Her expression is one of peace, as though the burden of the curse has finally been lifted. The townsfolk, gathered at the base of the tower, look up in awe as the bells continue to ring, their faces a mix of relief and disbelief. Eleanor steps back, her heart heavy yet resolute. The case has been solved, the truth revealed, but the cost lingers in her mind. Dr. Langston's life, the years of fear and silence, the lives forever altered by the priest's greed. These are scars that will not easily fade. She gazes out over the town, the first rays of sunlight casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets. Blackthorn, once shrouded in mystery, now stands on the brink of a new chapter. As she descends the tower, Eleanor reflects on the nature of justice and the weight of the past. Some mysteries, she realizes, are best left buried, their truths too painful to bear. Yet she knows that uncovering them, no matter the cost, is the only way to ensure that justice prevails. The bells continue to ring, their sound a reminder that even the darkest secrets cannot remain hidden forever. With the case closed, Eleanor prepares to leave Blackthorn, her thoughts already turning to the next mystery that awaits. But as she walks away from the church, she can't shake the feeling that the shadows of the silent bells still linger, whispering of secrets yet to be uncovered. And as the bells fade into the distance, she wonders what other stories lie hidden in the forgotten corners of the world, waiting for someone brave enough to bring them to light. As the final echoes of the bells fade into the morning air, the tale of the silent bells and the haunted church tower of St. Agatha's comes to a close. This chilling story, woven with threads of mystery, betrayal, and redemption, reminds us of the enduring power of the past to shape the present. The curse that once silenced the bells and cast a shadow over Blackthorn has been broken, but the scars it left behind serve as a testament to the cost of buried secrets and the pursuit of justice. Eleanor Blake's journey through the dark corridors of the church and the tangled web of its history reveals a truth that is as unsettling as it is necessary. The former priest's greed, the sacrifices of those who sought to protect the town, and the ghostly presence of Sister Margaret all converge to paint a picture of a community haunted not just by spirits, but by the weight of its own history. Yet in the end, the ringing of the bells signals a new beginning, a chance for Blackthorn to heal and move forward. This story invites us to reflect on the themes of justice and redemption. It asks us to consider how far we are willing to go to uncover the truth, even when that truth is painful, and it reminds us that some mysteries, though buried deep, will always find a way to surface, demanding to be heard. As we close this chapter, let us leave you with a haunting question. What other mysteries lie hidden in the shadows of forgotten places? What stories are waiting to be uncovered, and what truths are yearning to be told? If you enjoyed this tale of the silent bells, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of Eleanor's journey, and what other dark, mysterious stories would you like to hear? If you're eager for more tales that send shivers down your spine, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. Until next time, remember, the past may be silent, but its echoes are never truly gone.